X-Men movie rumors. Okay, so by the way, guys, these are rumors, not fact. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is seeming like, and this is based off of rumors that they could possibly be coming into the MCU before Secret Wars. There was some news that had dropped, I think it was 2 days ago, and it was basically talking about the fact that Mr. Sinister is being talked about to be the main villain of the MCU X-Men movie. And the funny thing that I thought was hilarious that Mr. Sinister is also in X-Men 97, which is the animated
Hmm.
show that is coming out as well. I'm not sure if there's like any ties into that, but it is also super weird. But something that I was thinking about is, could they be like, if Mr. Sinister is the villain for the X-Men and the MCU, whether if that's before Secret Wars or after, do you think they will be trying to set up, Apocalypse, since he's the one who made him? And could they be using, because technically, right, Apocalypse did use alien celestial tech to create him? Could they use that to link, maybe the mutants that way to the Celestials and the Eternals? I know
Eternals.
that, yeah, and I know that you and I, talked about this last week, and you're kind of like against that idea, but like, what if Kevin Feige is trying to go a different route by maybe linking them to cosmic beings? And obviously, like, Magneto is obviously going to be in this film. There's no way that you wouldn't include him. But like, would you guys be interested in that thought of maybe like the connection to the mutants go beyond Earth and is not just using Phoenix?
My issue with it lies in, like, I don't like characters being watered down for helping to sell other characters. I think they did that really badly. I know I say it like every week at this point, but I think they've really botched Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness,
Saw that
and
one
they
coming.
ruined. Yeah, like they absolutely sidelined Doctor Strange in his own movie to sell us America Chavez, and they ruined the movie in spite of it. And I don't want to see them do that to the X-Men. And listen, I can't stand America Chavez. I don't think she belongs in the MCU. But I happen to really like the Eternals. I thought that was a great movie. I think they're really cool characters. I think they have really cool powers. Their origin is sick. I would like to see Marvel sell the Eternals to the fandom better, because right now the fandom isn't really big on the Eternals. It wasn't received well, and I think that's a shame. But I also don't want to see that happen at the expense of the X-Men movies. And the problem with doing it with the X-Men is that there are too many of them. So you can't be spread that thin in an X-Men movie when you're already talking about making Mr. Sinister the villain. We know Magneto's probably going to be in this. We know Professor X is probably going to be in this. I mean, how could you do it without them? And then you have Wolverine, Cyclops, and all the other ones, especially the newer ones that people that outside of the comics don't really know. So I just think the X-Men are the worst franchise within Marvel to spread yourself too thin with. And listen, I want to see the Eternals get sold better by Marvel and the MCU, but I don't think that the X-Men is the place for it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting you mentioned kind of almost kind of merging or bringing the X-Men in, kind of connecting them to the Eternals. I have been hearing a lot of rumors that they are going to basically introduce adamantium with like the body of Tiamat, at the end of the big celestial. I've been hearing a lot of those rumors. So yeah, that could be interesting, I guess, to introduce adamantium that way. But I do kind of agree. I kind of want the X-Men to stand on their own. I do feel like too many times in the MCU, they've kind of changed a character to fit in with the movies. And then it annoys me too, because then they kind of do that in the comics too. They just sort of change them in the comics to fit the movies, and I'm like,
Right.
come on now, But I did really like the Eternals movie, and I would like to see them actually do something more with those characters. But I don't
100%.
know if they need to go like hand in hand with the X-Men. I feel like the X-Men being on their own, at least for the most part, would be nice. And I do feel like it would be kind of smart of them to stay away from most of the villains that Fox has already messed with. Like maybe somewhere like way down the line, do more like a more comic accurate version of Apocalypse. but I feel like Mr. Sinister is a good idea because they haven't really done much at all with him in the Fox universe. They made like a couple teases, but haven't actually done anything with him. And he's got the whole like cloning thing, which could also bring an interesting aspect to like the MCU X-Men.
Yeah, and I also think the thing about Mr. Sinister that's cool is that, you know, like the whole geneticist angle and like the science of the mutations. Listen, you know, a lot of people love to say that DC heroes are better than Marvel heroes, and I disagree with that. And I don't necessarily think one are better than the other. I just think they're different. And I think that Marvel's heroes are very science-based. I mean, the Spider-Man universe is very science-based. Iron Man's very science-based. The Fantastic Four are science-based. And obviously the X-Men are very science-based also. And I would like to get into that. I don't think that the Fox universe really touched on that at all. And I think
that's true.
And Mr. Sinister is the perfect villain to do that. And I think that it blends really nicely with the MCU because they really have a lot of characters that leaned into that. And they didn't really go so in depth in it, but it was still there. Yeah,
I think especially like with Iron Man, I think like expanding that more with the X-Men would be a cool idea.